Good day, everybody. This is Chris with Brothaspeak Podcast, where we talk about Black LGBT issues and topics. And this is, again, as promised before, I was going to give you a couple of days to actually just kind of soak in the first podcast. And now we're going to do the second one in regards to life after the Trump victory with our guest, Mr. Magic Mike Howson, over in the Black Caucus location down here in Florida, in the Broward County territory in particular. And we're continuing our conversation in regards to life after Trump and the Trump victory in particular. Keep in mind, we have not seen what this guy's going to do, but we're just kind of keeping our eyes open and also giving you guys the weapons as individuals out there of what to do. Hope you enjoy the podcast. Take a look.
But that's how I said, again, they're using our identity politics against us. That black people, which we are the only people who refer to ourselves as black people, right?
That's true.
When you talk about Latinos, you're talking about Latino, Latina, Latinx, whatever. We already know you're referring to a very specific community.
Right. Well, isn't that the reason why they actually created the term Hispanic? That's politically, that's why they created the term.
There are real differences. To say Hispanic really just means to say that you have a Spanish language background, right? Versus being Latinx, which means you have a Latin cultural background. Okay. Because Mexicans speak Spanish. They don't speak the same Spanish that they speak in Puerto Rico and Cuba and Spain.
Yeah. Okay.
But they're Hispanic because it's Spanish language versus being Latin, which means that they're coming from South America mostly. It's regional, right?
Okay.
The Central South America area.
Okay.
That's considered Latinx.
Okay.
Because it's more Portuguese-based culture than Spanish necessarily.
Okay.
So it's really different. But having all those different labels means that they can isolate them. They're not black, they're Latinx. They're Hispanic. Right? They're not Negroes. And they're not niggas. They're not niggers.
But they're still of African descent.
What does that matter?
Wow. Because it's not even recognized.
Exactly. Look at how Afro-Mexicans are just now getting recognized in Mexico.
It's kind of funny. I saw a picture. This particular picture of a black grandmother that was with her black child, but the black child was holding a baby because she had a baby with a European descent looking male. And even though he was also Latin himself, he was of a much lighter skin. And the baby they had was of much lighter skin as well. She was raising her hands to God saying, "Thank you. Thank you." And it was a very vivid picture. It was right there in your face. If you are dark skinned and to have it whitewashed, have a whitewashed skin out of it, history and everything, is a much better benefit than not.
They have a saying, the lighter the rider.
And it's kind of funny because this is what I always tell people. You cannot stop a person who suppresses from suppressing. You cannot stop that. So you can take away black people all you want to. Who's next?
They're going to find something else to be mad about. Absolutely. Because remember that, white people never used to be a thing. They were not a block. All right? You were British, you were Dutch, you were French, you were Italian, you were Jewish. So they were not a block. That was also a social construction for the benefit to continue to oppress black people.
Right.
Draw that line. You're with us.
Gotcha.
All right?
Gotcha.
You don't want to be with them. And they're doing it again.
They're doing a good job. So they've been definitely doing a good job. I can definitely say that for sure. So what I'm more concerned about now is that being the fact that the distance is being created, being the fact that a lot of complacency, even though things may begin to start going up, is it too late?
No.
And so because now, like we said, the road is going to be a little bit tougher now to implement things that have already been implemented. Mm-hmm. The road's going to be a little bit tougher now, especially now that you have somebody in the White House now who is completely against but even though they got several people, I mean, we have several people that constantly throw us underneath our boat, our own people, the pastors, Omarosa. Then I believe Carlson's now part of urban and development, at least the offer has been put in. So we constantly have our own throwing us underneath the boat,
and at the local level too. There are those
at local level as well.
Well, this is what I was saying about becoming the opposition party, and that the Democrats suffered because we haven't played this role at all. We haven't had to in a long time. So I want to say that the people like myself, the younger people who are up and coming into this world now, need to learn how to do it all over again in our own way. We have to be vigilant. We have to pay constant attention, even as terrible and disheartening as it may seem. You cannot turn away.
Right.
Because you cannot fight against what you cannot see.
Right.
All right. If you don't see it coming, there's nothing you can do about it. There's no reason to roll over and give up now. Right. Just because they control the legislature doesn't mean that they will necessarily get what they want.
That's true.
They have a super majority in Congress right now, but it's not bulletproof.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That we can still put a stop to things, but we have to engage our leaders, the ones who are already there.
Are there leaders?
Well, I use leader in a very broad term.
Yeah.
In the sense that they've already been elected, and they have, access and personnel and the budget.
So they
vote.
So because of
they're
that,
there already. So
utilize them. Gotcha.
This is what it's about. It's about reacquainting ourselves with the system and utilizing the tools at our disposal.
Gotcha.
For example, back in 2011, I was part of Occupy Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
And the following year, they were going to have a city election, and I think all 5 seats of the commission were up. And it was also going to be a charter review year. And if you remember Occupy, it was the genesis of, I guess, our current strong activist movement across the country. That activity that has been continuing to happen. It's rallied around Black Lives Matter and now No DAPL and stuff like that with Standing Rock. That people are more willing to engage into that activist activity now because they see what's happening and how things have been going. There have been a series of decisions that have put us in place already, like Citizens United. Those are the things that are almost impossible to roll back now, but we can turn them to our advantage. People take advantage of the tax designations and form your own organizations. 501c3, 501c4, 501c6.
But for people, it's so much easier to just go and protest, even though it does absolutely nothing.
No, I absolutely disagree. This is where unity becomes so important, because that activist activity gives me, as someone who has a seat at the table, it gives me leverage.
Okay, it may give
you want my people to go home. You want them to stop blocking up the streets and boycotting in front of your businesses and carrying on and so forth. Then give me what I want.
Okay, who's doing that? Who's standing up and using it as leverage now?
Well, that's what I'm working on building now. Okay, and what I like to impress upon people is that we have a handful of people who are out here working, but we cannot do it by ourselves. Okay, I look at the Black Caucus, and we have 5 officers and a handful of board members. You got a total of 8, maybe 9 people. So the leadership of the caucus falls on the 9 people, and if you got 9 people on the board, you got maybe 3 of them who are actually doing work, 4 of them who are actually doing work. It's just a numbers game,
right?
Because it is so much easier to be more concerned with your personal life. I wasn't able to get to that. I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But those of us who were truly dedicated, that burden falls on us, and there's only so much that we can do. Right. There's only so much personal capacity that I have.
Right.
So I'm going to be running for president of the caucus, our Broward chapter, in the spring.
Yes.
But even as the president, my sphere of influence is still only so much.
What does a Black Caucus do? What does it really do for the local community?
Well, that is the thing that we're working on now, is forming a new mission. Before, it was the organization that we had years ago was controlled by Frida something. And though she was a Black lady and she had a couple members in the caucus, she wasn't really doing anything with it. And it seemed very apparent that she was actually suppressing the development of the caucus. She wasn't doing anything to build the membership.
Wow.
So we've just gone through a period of rebuilding with a new president, a new board, and bringing on new members and actually doing stuff just to elevate our voice within the party.
Gotcha.
Right? So as far as outreach and activity out in the community, we haven't gotten to that work yet.
Okay.
Just because it's been so much work just to do the reorganization.
Yeah.
So our current president, Corey Shear, has done a magnificent job in that, bringing in the new members that we have now, making sure that we've had 2 Black History luncheons that has allowed us to raise some money and allowed us to influence these elections that I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast.
Yes.
That, we endorse Dale for office, we endorse Mark for office, and several other local, city leaders and judges who won their offices this general cycle. So that's important. That work that we're doing is important because we are a political organization,
right.
First and foremost.
Right.
So if we are going to engage in government and we're going to make things happen, we're going to try and actually get solutions, then we need to make sure that we're electing right people to begin with. Right. And that my mission moving forward would be to build the caucus into a mechanism that will, number one, now hold those elected representatives accountable.
Yes.
To our community.
Gotcha.
Right. Gotcha. Making sure that they are, when the thing about democracy is that you're never doing anything by yourself. You have to work with a team.
Yes.
Right.
That's true.
But being a good member of the team means that you're pulling your weight. Okay, being a good leader for the community means that you're actually engaging in that fight and trying to at least deliver something for us. Right. So that's our job right now, is to be vigilant on that and say, are these people that we supported for office, and they won, these people who are in office and they do self-identify as Democrats, are we holding them accountable for what we believe they should be doing for our community?
That's true.
And if not, then what are our plans? Who are we going to run for that seat next?
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Who is going to be working on that campaign and developing the strategy and making sure that a proper organization is built around that candidate and build a campaign to actually win and put them in office? Now, that is an important step.
Now, that also brings up several things, because I think there needs to be a much more powerful voice for the Black LGBT. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure, yes, we have LGBT, but most of the time it's usually more white men fighting for white men.
I compare it to women's suffrage back in the day. That's exactly what it was.
And don't get me wrong, there's many things there's many benefits that come out of it that people reap, but the reality is, as far as
only because of the battles that were already fought before for civil rights in general. So the climate now is very different compared to women's suffrage, so that the rights that are won in this movement do truly benefit everybody, but there is so much more that could be done and should be done specifically by us as Black gay men.
Right. And so that now brings another question. In terms of the things and the issues that we would like to see, right now it's kind of interesting, because I don't really see many Black LGBT organizations out there that are really in the political scheme or political aspect of things at all. So as far as actually a voice,
our community needs services. We need somewhere to go. We need resources, right? So those are the existing organizations, the few that do exist, that's their orientation. They're nonprofit organizations and maybe even charities that are focused on delivering services and whatnot to our community. But if we really do want to engage on a political level, then, like I said, we as sovereign citizens need to take that step to engage. Okay. Put ourselves out there to be engaged. Don't wait for someone to come to you. Grab your friends, your family, and sit down and have your own little club meeting. You don't need to go to nobody to do that.
You know what? But
you have your own friends. Sit down. Make it intentional. Guys, there is shit going on around here that we need to be paying attention to. Let's talk about it. It don't got to be a long conversation. 30 minutes.
But getting people to act.
Right. Well, it's like you said, one step at a time. There's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Right? If you put in the personal effort and I'm going to teach you guys a little bit organizing. All right. So, we always say that in campaigning, people will come for the candidate, but they stay for you. Right? Because it's all about personal relationships. The relationship that you leverage with people, that you build and leverage with people, makes all the difference in whatever else that you're going to do.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So if you are feeling concerned and you feel like, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go, I would say, number 1, do some research. Google is your friend. Everyone got a smartphone in their hand.
True. There's too many.
You can imagine some terms to start searching for, and you just go down the rabbit hole. You do it with everything else. I know you do it with anything else you're working on, any projects you're working on, your porn, whatever. You like to go down the rabbit hole. Do that.
Right.
Make it intentional that you are informing yourself. You are feeding yourself what you need to know to be better informed. Because you can't take action without proper information.
Absolutely.
Okay? Leverage your relationships, number 2. Get your own people together, your own circle of people. Just to have the conversation. Engage in that conversation and know where everyone stands. This is how you build community. If we are not talking to people, all right, and by people I mean the people who are physically around us, okay, because we all have our networks, we have our own little world of people that we interact with. They're not necessarily our communities that we live in.
Right.
Which is how the government and political power is still organized. It's around property, it's around land, it's around physical space that you are occupying. You cannot ignore that.
Right.
So gather those people around you. You live in an apartment building, that's the easiest to do.
You're absolutely right.
You got 2, 3, 4, 5, God knows how many floors. You can go knock on those people's doors and say, hi, I'm your neighbor in 6B, and I want to have a meeting about what's going on in our city. I just want to talk about it. I got a piece of information and I thought that we should know what's going on. Would you come down the hall to my apartment? Let's have some coffee and talk about it.
True. Absolutely.
If only 5 people show up, you are successful. Because if you can have a conversation that motivates and empowers those 5 people, and each one of those people now brings someone else with them to the next meeting, and they bring someone else with them to the next meeting, you start to multiply your power now.
Absolutely.
You don't need to necessarily reach 100 people, you yourself personally.
Yeah.
But if you reach 3 people, and they reach 3 people, and they reach 3 people, before you know it, you have reached 100 people. Just like that.
Absolutely.
We see how quickly things spread around the internet. What do you think people did before the internet? Hello.
That's true. They had to actually go to meetings, and they actually had better conversation. Actually,
exactly. And you think that you don't want to go to the typical political meeting and be bored by whomever is going to stand up there and talk at you and yada yada. Hold your own meeting. Run it the way that you want. Engage.
Right.
All right. Find out when your city commission meeting is.
Yeah.
Go to it. And I say go to it because even though I said earlier they stream it online, you can watch it live, you can watch it after the fact. That's the catch up.
Gotcha.
Go to the meeting, meet the people who were in the room, because you know who comes to those meetings? The lobbyists come to those meetings. Okay, all those lawyers and business people who want to curry favor with our elected officials. They want business with our cities and with our county. They're in the room. You'll get to know who they are. Other community leaders who are already engaged and they're trying to do something and they need people to help them, they'll be in the room. Introduce yourself. Because if you don't have anything going on for yourself, or it's just the 5 of y'all and you don't know who else you can hook up with, and there's no one else who's interested, like in your building, in your neighborhood, of getting together to do something, then go outside of your neighborhood and now engage in something.
So let me ask you this. Right now, the biggest thing, what's the biggest topic you think as black people, black LGBT people, whatever the case is, what do you think right now is the biggest issue or the biggest topic that we should fight for right now?
The thing is, I don't think there is any one thing that is going to get everyone to unite behind it.
True.
Because we're all individuals. And even within our community, we have our own little subgroups. And
that's very true.
We have competing interests that play against each other.
Okay.
And I think that we really need to start reframing our conversation about action and not make it about what is the one issue that is going to unite people, but what is the ideal? What is the value that is going to unite people, no matter what?
Okay.
Our message needs to be that this, like I posted on Facebook today because someone said, in the video that we were watching, that America has never been all white.
You're right.
Never.
Absolutely.
It has never been all white. Okay? But the white people who were here built power structures that benefited them.
True.
The genius, though, is that they're not the only ones who can benefit from them.
True.
We just simply need to engage. If we try to rally people behind the idea of what America really is, that our competing interests get us to the middle, to the balance, nobody will be happy, but everybody will get something that they want and need.
True.
That is what we need to be fighting for. That's what we need to be building towards. That everyone has a seat at the table and everyone can come to the table and negotiate to get what they need.
But
that's what we need to focus on, because then it's not a matter really of you accepting me as, somebody with a Caribbean background being black enough to be,
right.
Black power with you. No, it's about us as Americans taking back our power. Period.
But people still want a takeaway. People still want something, because I'll be honest with you, a lot of people really, because like you mentioned before, a lot of people just don't know where to start. Right. And even with the topics and stuff, just even top 5 topics right now that actually you think, even if it's local, what do you think is actually important? Because people want something to go for. I would like to be involved, but I don't know what to be involved in. What will be top 5 things? 3 to 5.
I find it really hard to say, because I can give you what's important to me, but what's important to me is not necessarily what's important to everybody.
But tell me.
Well, like for me, things that are important to me are, sustainable development, education, and sustainable economics. Right?
Okay. All right.
So that's something that I will be fighting for.
I think a lot of people really will fight for those things, because self-reliance. I think self-reliance is probably,
because don't everybody have the same worldview, and that's my point. We don't need to agree on a particular worldview in order to come together and say that we each have the right to negotiate for what we want, which is the point.
Okay.
All right. It's just like with GOTV messaging, a lot of times people don't respond directly to an appeal to vote for a particular candidate, right? They will make up their minds on their own. They need information, they'll review it, and they'll decide whether or not they like that person.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
That's not going to make anybody who hasn't already made a decision actually go out and vote. If you give them just the general message, though, that, hey, election day is today, go vote. Go and vote. People are more likely to take action. So I approach it the same way. Okay. I don't need you to work on sustainable development with me. What I need you to do is work on, we all got a seat at this motherfucking table.
Gotcha. I hear what you're saying.
That is what we need to be concerned about. Okay. So that you don't have to worry about people's identity politics. Fine, you want to be in your little Haitian club, be in your Haitian club. You want to be in your Jamaican club, be in your Jamaican club.
Right.
All right. You want to be in your Brazilian club, be in your Brazilian club. But at the end of the day, all of us can come together and say, hey guys, all right, we have this issue that's going on right now. How we going to solve this?
True.
Well, I need this. I need that. And you're all going to argue, but you're going to come to an agreement at the end of the day because you all had a voice.
That's true. I agree.
That is the action that we need to be working towards. But if you want more specifics on an individual level, I will give everyone 3 things that they need to do.
Okay.
Number 1, they need to go and introduce themselves to a local official.
Okay.
All right.
Like, where can that be done? The local library? Yeah. Can be done downtown?
Go to your cities. Go, like I said, find out when your city commission meetings are and just go to a meeting.
Where did they go? How to find the information? Where?
Go to your city hall.
City Hall has a City Hall website?
They all have websites. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
so pull out of the City Hall.
Your friend. Okay. There are 31 cities in Broward. Every one of them got a City Hall and a website.
Start with a City Hall.
Broward County government also has a website.
That's true. That's right. You're right.
So at the very least, you will know who these people are because their pictures and biographies are on the website.
Gotcha. Okay. Second.
Find yourself an issue to engage in.
Are there lists on the websites?
No, it's literally anything that you could possibly care about.
Okay.
If you have a problem with the way that your parks look in your city, that's your issue. Go get on Parks and Rec. There's a board for that. Go get on Parks and Rec so that you will have influence over the parks in your city.
Okay.
You got an issue with the potholes in the roads in your city and your neighborhood? Contact your city. Contact the county government. They're really the ones who work with the Florida Department of Transportation to fix those issues.
Gotcha.
Okay, you want to be part of let's say you don't have a vehicle and you have to ride the bus and cuss about BCT every damn day like I used to. Okay, go participate in the Metropolitan Planning Organization for the Transportation and Infrastructure Development of the region. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
And when I say the region, I mean this is an organization that's working on a plan to modernize transportation infrastructure between the Tri-County area from Palm Beach to Miami.
Interesting.
Okay. Right. And the county itself has its own, of course, runs BCT, the airport, the seaport. They have boards to advise them on all of that. Get yourself appointed to a board. Come join the Black Caucus. Join the Broward Democratic Party. You have a Democratic Executive Committee. There are 577 precincts across the county. There are supposed to be people who represent each one of those precincts within both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Or if you choose a third party, the Green Party is here, the Libertarian Party is here, the Independent Party is here, the Independence Party is here, the Socialist Party is here.
There's so many parties.
And there's a list available on the Supervisor of Election website, or if you prefer, you can go to the Florida Division of Elections website.
Wow. So really at this point, the information is available, and you know where to go now. You know where to go.
Yeah, what I tell you, internet is so powerful, and everybody has it at their fingertips. There really is zero excuse. So,
at the end of the day, what we're seeing right now is really a direct result of people not really taking action. Mm-hmm. So now that you see the people, go ahead.
I forgot the third action.
Tell me.
The last action is to talk to someone that you know or don't know who either did not vote or voted for Donald Trump.
Why?
Because perspective is important. You need to listen. Mm-hmm. You will not understand why people voted the way they do if you don't understand how they feel. Don't debate them.
True.
Ask them, why did you vote for Donald Trump? Because I was scared. What are you scared of? That people are coming to take my jobs. What jobs?
Okay. That actually makes total sense. I mean, you really can't necessarily address people and address their concerns if you don't know exactly what those concerns are. Exactly. And it makes total sense. And you know what? I agree with that. Just simply,
and you know,
people have the right to vote any way they want.
That one-on-one conversation might change that person's views, or might start pushing them in a new direction, because a lot of it comes from misinformation. So if you're armed with information that will help you possibly answer whatever their concerns are, you just flip them.
True.
Never forget, I flipped a lady at the poll during the 2014 election. She was going to vote for Charlie Crist, and I asked her to vote for Nan Rich, and she asked me why, and I gave her a breakdown. And I was like, Charlie Crist did X, Y, and Z. Oh, no. Was it? Nah. It was Rick Scott versus Charlie Crist.
Gotcha.
That's what it was. And so I flipped her because she was going to vote for Rick Scott. And this was a black woman. She was going to go vote for Rick Scott.
Wow.
I was like, hold on, let me clarify something for you. Just the basic knowledge of some of the things that the governor has done and advocated for, and laws that he has signed passed by his Republican legislature, comparing that to what Charlie Crist and the Democratic Party can offer. It was just that simple to have a conversation and find. My first question to her is, why are you voting for Rick Scott? You're a black woman in America. Why are you voting for Rick Scott? Please tell me.
Really? Wow.
And having an in-depth conversation about why she was voting for Rick Scott first, before I talked to her about Charlie Crist, made all the difference.
Wow. And you know what? That's good. I think a lot of people really... Because I think people view the political system as a very complex, very misunderstood, but they really just don't get it.
Right. And it is big. It is complex. But you know what? It is not impossible to understand or to maneuver within. But see, that's what makes actually people a lot easier than you thought.
But see, that's what makes people really don't want to engage in it, because it's too complex. If it's not simple, right. And I think you're really seeing that people's actions, the simplicity of things. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, there's nothing that you can really get done. I mean, it's easy to stand in front of a doctor's office and say don't kill babies when you're not necessarily attacking the reason why people feel that it is important for them to actually go into abortion. Some people may be on Section 8. Some people may not necessarily have a job. Some people, all these other things. And so the reasons behind it, no one wants to attack. It's just better to attack the person than actually better to go and actually find out the reasons why. And because those are much more complex reasons.
Oh, yeah.
So complexity, people don't want.
Hate complexity.
People don't hate. You know what?
I have decided that I'm going to take a page out of Lupe Fiasco's book, and I'm going to stop dumbing it down.
Why?
Stop it. Because this is exactly the thing that is ruining our country right now.
But wait a minute. I just told you people don't like complexity. So you have no choice but to dumb it down. Nope. Trump is a dumbed down version. Let's kill him. He's a dumbed down. They saw him on a reality show. Yep. They saw how great he is. You're fired. Yeah, they like that. And because of that,
but you know,
he's simple to them. You know?
That wasn't how it always was.
I think
it can change again. It changed before, it changed again, it changed again, it changed again. This is not the same country we started with 200 years ago.
Yeah, now we got technology. Technology is controlled
It's not just technology. The number of people, the diversity of people, the diversity of ideas, and because also the technology has completely changed the way that we live our lives. Completely. From when this country was started. But the fundamental ideas remain the same, and we can rally around that.
Okay.
The thing is, in order for us to get to that level, you have to have there has to be a certain spark. And that energy cannot be separated from the intellectual part of the movement. Right. These complex matters cannot be solved with basic ABC equation, answers.
Right.
It's just not going to work that way. And to pretend like we need to continue going down this path of dumbing things down in order to get people on. People are not stupid.
No, people are not.
They are not stupid. They're just lazy.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
And so you have to address the laziness. Don't assume that they are ignorant. Address the laziness.
There's a lot even with that laziness, I think.
But you know what? The thing is, like you said, the one-on-one conversation is so powerful.
It is.
You will literally change the way that people behave because of your conversation.
Right.
If they don't have more to think about, you continue to feed them that same simple syrup. That's all that's going to be up here is simple syrup. Well, you don't give them a more complex, bouillon or hollandaise sauce or something like. You don't spice it up and make it different. They will never fathom, right, that it could be different.
See, I hear exactly what you're saying, but as far as actually people fathom and people looking at simplicity, people being lazy. People look at things very simple. Hillary Clinton had the popular vote by 2 million votes. Mm-hmm. She still didn't win. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump won. Mm-hmm. What? So, can you explain that at all?
They don't understand the Electoral College. They don't understand why it was put in place. They don't understand the structure of it. They don't understand how it works. Now, most people don't even know the election ain't even over, right? The Electoral College doesn't meet until December 14th. They're not going to cast their ballots for president until December 19th.
So wait, who else? Okay, so Donald Trump, even though Hillary has 2 million votes more in popularity,
right,
but the actual electoral, she still did not get it.
Right. Because, first of all, the Electoral College was set up as a compromise between the popular vote and Congress just picking a president. Right?
Because of farmers, right?
Right. And because the country was much simpler. And you also have the time factor that people are having an election in November and they got to travel to D.C. to convey that information. Right? Mm-hmm. There are practical issues that need to be considered in that too. We live in a very different country now, but some of the reasons why the Electoral College was instituted still make sense, right?
Please tell me. Please tell me. Break this down.
Because the number of electors that each state has is equal to their representatives in Congress. Florida has 29 votes. Why? Because we have 2 senators and 27 congressional seats, House seats.
Okay.
So we end up with 29 votes. The real problem is that we are not splitting up those votes proportionally to the popular vote that was cast in the state. We do it all or nothing. As do most states in the union, cast their electoral votes as all or nothing. So it doesn't matter that Donald Trump only won 51% of the vote in Florida. He's still going to get all of our electoral votes instead of just half of them.
And that will never be addressed, will it? The actual
it can be, but the thing is, we as sovereign citizens, we have to lobby for it on the base level. We have to push it up. You cannot have because in order to have a constitutional convention and amend the U.S. Constitution, right, you need 35 states to sign on to that.
That's right.
By the way, the Republicans control 34. So I'm gonna let that sink in for a little bit.
Oh wow.
So if you want to change the outcome of future elections, then what we need to do is start campaigns in each of our states to change the distribution of our electoral votes.
Is Democrats even on board with that too? The actual change to process, or no?
Well, I mean, that it's one of those things where you have to shock the idea, you have to sell it, you have to build it until it gains that kind of momentum.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
Or you traditionally what they find is a spokesperson. Somebody who's popular enough that they will carry it and people will pick it up. Right?
Right.
There are all kinds of little things that we should be doing. For instance, like you want to avoid the gerrymandering thing, then each state should have an independent districting committee like Arizona does now.
Really?
Yes.
And Arizona's pretty successful at this?
Well, they just got it, and it was just upheld by the Supreme Court.
Wow.
But the point is that the people took the step to try and wrest that power from the people who were abusing it. Wow. That you as an elected official are sitting up here and picking the district that you know that you will win.
Wow.
That don't make any sense.
Yep.
Like literally redrawing like, oh, I know I could win Plantation, but maybe not Davis so much. Oh, but I could bet Fort Lauderdale, I bet.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And you start drawing the map real crazy. Look at what's Corinne Brown. Her district was hundreds of miles long starting from the top of the state going all the way down almost to Orlando.
Yeah.
It's this serpentine district that's cut right through the middle of the state. It's crazy. Why would you do that? That don't make any sense. There are other ways to draw seats.
Yes.
Right? But it's about who's going to be maintaining power and where, from whom.
Gotcha.
So on and so forth.
Gotcha.
I think also if we want to see a better change, then Democrats got to start getting out of the damn cities. Our populations are too concentrated in these cities.
That's true.
Which is because if you look at Florida in this past election, Hillary won Palm Beach and Broward and Miami and Orlando and Hillsborough. And I think somewhere, no, I think she got Leon as well, right?
Yeah, yes, she does. Yes, she does.
Donald Trump got every other. There are 67 counties in this state. So for her to win 5 and he won 62, wow. Come on.
Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
Wow.
Because the rest of those 62 counties, they're much further out, they're more rural, and their population is nowhere near ours.
Right.
I mean, honestly, most people live in South Florida, and the next closest is down by like I want to get the number right, but I think it's a couple million people. There's a couple million difference between the Tri-County area down here and the next closest, most populous county in the state. Wow, it's a huge difference.
Okay, it's Miami, Dade County, Broward County, Palm Beach County. Then it goes to the Brevard County, and then it goes oh my God, I think it probably goes over to Melbourne. Yeah.
Well, Melbourne is in Brevard. So we're talking about those counties.
Yeah.
Like the gap in the population between the South Florida Tri-County area and the next most populous county anywhere in the state is millions.
Yeah, it is. Wow.
It's a huge gap, wow. Right? And even then, and you start to see, okay, who are the next? There are like 2 or 3 more counties with significant populations that come after Broward, Palm Beach, and Miami. And then the rest of the state, it's country. It's all country. It's rural. You got maybe 100,000 people in each county. But all of them 60 plus counties, they all added up to give Donald Trump the ultimate majority of the popular vote in the state.
Wow.
But because our electoral votes are not distributed proportionally like, say, Utah or Oregon, who also happens to vote completely by mail.
What?
Yep. And they just instituted a new law to do automatic registration in their state. Yep. So you go get your driver's license and whatnot, and you're just like that.
Wow. You know, I got to tell you, a lot of this information is also new to me. A lot of information that I think a lot of us wanted to hear and also needed to hear in terms of, one, starting with the basics, where to go. Step 1, step 2, step 3. What a lot of us feel about what may be about to happen. A lot of people right now are just in this state of shock and still don't know what the hell to do.
Yeah. I mean, listen, my phone committed suicide on election day. It knew. Listen, I was running around trying to help Mark distribute lunch, and I stopped. I was pulling out the box. Somebody called me, and I was like, all right, I'm going to call them back. I put the phone on top of the car, like surely on top of the car. I reached into the car to start pulling out the box, and before I hear it, and I'm like, what? And Mark was standing right there. He's like, Mike, your phone. And I looked at it. And I was just like, and it landed face down too.
Wow!
I am convinced the thing jumped. It had a case on it. It had tempered glass on top of it, and it still broke. Okay.
Oh my God! Wow!
And next is 6 p.m. So mad. The gold one. So mad.
Oh my God!
All right. And I'm convinced that it knew at that point how the election was going and committed suicide by jumping off the top of my car.
And you know what? I think a lot of people committed suicide then.
I mean, it's just because it's so unbelievable. You're just like, how did this happen?
Yeah. It is.
And I mean, for me, it's especially devastating for me and people in my field who have given countless hours, 7 days a week for months on and for over a year to impact this election and still have this outcome.
But now this is where the real work comes in, the true endurance. Now, mind you,
now is the endurance work.
I mean, because now you have, the alt-right movement, which is basically white supremacy. You have that movement Now going on strong, I think a lot more people are now beginning, even those people who never really thought that way are probably going to be convinced that way too. Just like a lot of people did, again, if you go in history. So the question is, how do you actually start doing things now? How do you actually start really going out there? And I think we have some good basics, but I also think that we have to be really strategic and strong and do a lot more grassroots work. So I do see a lot of work. I do see a lot of possibility. But understand that this is not going to go easy.
Oh, yeah.
This is not going to go easy.
By no means. It's not going to be an easy 4 years.
No.
But I am convinced that if we can get people to come together and, like I said, just agree that everyone needs to have a seat at the table, and that is our objective.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That everyone get a seat at the table. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like one of my favorite members of the caucus is Muqtadir Naeem. Okay, he's part of the Muslim community here in South Florida, and he reached out to us first, to the Black Caucus first, to try and start facilitating that new unity. You know, having myself and other board members and like the president and the vice president come out to his mosque in Sunrise, you know, to come and fellowship with his people and have dinner out there and just get to know people. Right. And we started collaborating on events together. It's just that simple, right. You know, to start working together across faith lines, across, you know, racial lines and all of that to actually build something real. We just have to be willing to do that. We have to stop clutching our fists and tucking them under ourselves and saying like, no, you know, we're like, I don't need you.
Yeah.
Of course you do. No man is an island. No community exists by itself. No community builds by itself.
Right.
Okay, because even these other communities around us who we say that are doing so much better, you know, they have unity within the community they're building. They're getting our money. They're not just getting their people's money. They're getting our money and everybody else's too.
Wow. So, last question.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see a lot of people within I go by the cabinet selection because it shows the personality of the person that we really let in and the type of people that he's allowing to get in. Mm-hmm. And it seems like I think it was a remarkable speech that was given by one of the representatives. Her name is, I can't think of what the representative. She gives one of the best speeches all the time, every time I hear her talk. And she's talking about how Donald Trump consistently, everything that he said he was going to do, he lied. He outright just lied. He said he's not going to allow lobbyists in there. Well, guess what? Now he's bringing lobbyists in there. Mm-hmm. He said he's not going to do this, and guess what? He's doing that. Mm-hmm. And so right now we got already a good personality change in a matter of a few months. Not even a few months, a few weeks. Yep. And so we're already seeing exactly this guy is a liar. And the speech that she gave, I'm now looking at all the people that he's beginning to allow to put in. Most of these people believe that you can actually change from being gay. It's more of an understanding of it's a selection. It's a choice to be gay. It's all those things. And
I don't remember making that choice.
Neither do I. But a lot of these people who are who basically he's selecting right now believe that is a choice, and it can have therapy to heal from being gay. What is your ideas about that?
When are we going to get therapy to heal from slavery?
You know what?
40 acres in a mule.
You know, as far as...
I'll take 4 acres in a Mustang.
I think a lot of people really believe that don't even need to be addressed. Who cares? Jewish people have to do it in remorse. Why should we? So I think a lot of people really believe that.
Jewish people don't what?
The Jewish people have to have any sort of therapy for slavery, or even therapy for being the
because they already getting everything they want. Look at how the state allocated how many millions of dollars to build the new Holocaust Museum over there on the west coast of Florida. It was right over there in St. Pete, St. Peter, Tampa, them areas.
Yeah.
And I think it was Representative. Representative Latka, that's his district where he fought for that money. New Holocaust Museum. Like, we don't have enough of those already. You go tell the Jews that the Holocaust don't matter. They need to get over that.
But you know what? I really believe that there's something to learn from it, though. of how they actually handle certain things. They just simply just go out and they make it happen themselves. I've heard some cases to where they just simply say, okay, you guys don't want to get the fence to build up around the area that we believe is very high on crime in area. Tell you what, we'll all band together and put the money ourselves to build that fence. And it's a different mentality. And apparently it's the same mentality that's been around for generations.
Right. And that is what I'm saying. We need to start teaching that to people.
Right.
And changing their behavior.
Right.
To have that mentality that we can actually come together and do things for our own.
Right.
The problem that we must overcome, though, is ego.
Ego?
Yes. We each need to get over our individual egos.
Oh, yeah.
People need to stop trying to be in charge, stop trying to control, stop trying to lead, right, what is happening, and let the people decide together what is the best course. I mean, they've started doing research and they showed that crowdsourcing works. Right?
It does. It really does.
They compared the opinions of average everyday Americans who both watch news and don't watch news, okay, on foreign intelligence reports to the expert opinions of our professional intelligence community. And do you know that the analysis and predictions out of the aggregate opinions of the people that they polled, right, was more accurate than what the CIA and NSA had predicted on these situations?
Really?
Yes. Crowdsourcing works.
Wow.
Okay? So let the people come together and figure out how to do these things. And let's stop the paradigm of top-down leadership. That there must be someone at the head, someone who is the face, someone who represents this thing and is going to sell it and make it successful. We need to stop that. The whole idea of having a horizontal government that we do, right? And I mean horizontal in that no single branch of government holds more power over the others than any of them, right? They are all equal.
Right.
So why is there so much emphasis put on the leadership of the president?
Because really the reality is he is convinced by the people around him. He is completely convinced by those people. He is completely controlled by those people who are surrounding him. In many of those cases, they were already there.
But what about us? Listen, the country was started because we didn't want a king. We don't want a tyrant. So why do people invest so much energy into a single leader? That the president is going to change it. The president can't do shit. He's the new boy. He's the chief administrator.
It's religion, though.
That's interesting.
Jesus is... Listen, I don't want to go there, but the reality is... We don't have to go there,
but I want to bring that question up so that
people look for a savior.
Question that now. We have to fill our people with questioning. They need to question it.
Yes.
Why must there only be a single leader?
I agree with that. I believe
even if you say that we need a voice, do it always got to be the same voice?
No, it doesn't.
Can we choose leaders who are appropriate for the time?
True. That's absolutely right. Appropriate for the time. That makes total sense to me.
Appropriate for the duty, because some people are very impassioned speakers. They can deliver that fire and really rile up a crowd. That has its place, right? You also have people who can give that strong, measured, inspirational, very what's the word? The aspirational kind of speech, right? That will move people to action in a very different way. Right? So why don't we look at those things?
True.
Or why don't we also consider the fact that together the five of us will make better decisions than the one of us?
You're absolutely right. I agree with you on that. And now that comes towards the end. This will be, we're talking about 2 hours, probably.
Woo!
But
it gives you lots of material to work with.
I got a lot of material to work with. A lot of editing. Not as much. But I do appreciate you taking the time to actually talk to me. I do appreciate us having this conversation, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people right now are just kind of like dumbfounded, don't know what to think, don't know what to say. They're just kind of so I'm really thankful for at least giving us the steps to go and what to think about. Really take more emphasis in our local community, as well as what to do, and at least getting started to get some sort of a group going on for you personally. At least listen. Your Facebook friends can be also your political friends when it comes to getting on there.
It could be start a Facebook group. I mean, I really prefer for people to reach out to their neighbors, people who are actually around them, because like I said, right now the power structure is based on land. It's based on our physical spaces that we occupy.
Don't get me wrong. Facebook protest was originally started by Facebook. So we take those into consideration. I really believe that right now, that as long as people are still very passionate about this, I really believe. And by the way, I love not to say that I disagree with protests, but I look at it as but you also changed my mind on it during this interview, to look at it as a tool. Right. I just hope that the same passion that they feel now still exists 9 months later. Still,
I know some of these people personally. They are friends, and I can tell you that the passion is there and is real, and it is going to be long lasting. There is nothing that is going to put out the fire for some of these people. There's just nothing that you can do about that. And I also want to make it my mission to include them in my leadership, at least at the caucus. Like, I agree that their protests are a tool, and I think that they should be included in that voice. Like I say, us together will make better decisions than any one of us individually. We just need to work on that. And I'm going to make a shameless plug real quick.
Go ahead.
For the Democratic Black Caucus of Broward County. Our Christmas party / membership drive is going to be on December 19th in Lauderdale Lakes at the Multipurpose Center. I think that's 4320 Northwest 36th Street in Lauderdale Lakes. Okay. It's right off of 441. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Membership is $15. And I encourage everyone, that's one of the tasks that I gave, right? To come and get involved with something. There you go. You all know where else to go. December 19th. Come and join the Black Caucus. Get to know some of our people. There are a lot of elected officials and former candidates who are part of the caucus. They're willing to provide leadership and guidance and mentorship and whatever else.
That's good.
And we're all ready to do that. We just need more people to come in and join with us. More people need to join the circle.
Thank you so much. I really agree with that. And you know what? I definitely want to see how much more involvement I can possibly do, or whatever type of help I can possibly be of service. I'm more than happy to do it.
Hey, you know what? You are already doing it right now. You are delivering your voice to the world. There are people who are listening to you. So that gives you power. That's the power of our media right now. And like I said earlier, it's so important for us to feed ourselves. If you keep doing what you're doing and your audience keeps growing, then you're doing the right thing.
Thank you. And on that note, I'm going to end it off with Mr. Michael Magic Mike Howson. Thank you again for joining us. This is Chris with Black LGBT Issues and Topics, Brothaspeak. Thank you so much, guys. Stay care. What does that mean?
Love you, mean it.
Bye-bye.